Good morning, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this morning edition of the RK Newscast, where we cover your national news, international news, business news, and political news. Let's begin. First up, let's take a look at the coronavirus updates for around the world. South Korea reports no new local cases for the first time since February. The last time South Korea reported no new cases, locally transmitted cases, was February 18th. Today's biggest developments. U.S. death toll nears 61,000. South Korea reports no new locally cases for the first time since February. California governor plans to order closure of all beaches and state parks. And Russia reports record spike in new cases. Famous D.C. restaurant fights to stay open during coronavirus outbreak. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC. From CBS. Sorry about that one.
Washington is full of monuments, but few in the food business stand as tall as Ben's Chili Bowl. It has served generations of the city's famous and not so famous. As CBS's Nicole Killian reports, it's now facing the fight of its life.
In a city famous for landmarks like Washington and where for more than 60 years, people from all walks of life, presidents, popes, and celebrities have craved a taste of the chili half smoke.
We've always been the place for people to come and gather.
Virginia Ali is the mom behind this mom and pop.
I'm 86 years old, and I've never seen anything like this.
Since stay-at-home orders took effect, business has slowed to a crawl.
You've had to shut some of your restaurants.
We've had to close all of them except this one. We've never closed the Chili Bowl. Never.
Not during the 1968 riots, the drug wars of the 80s and 90s, or subway construction.
What has enabled you to persevere?
Hard work and caring about the business and caring about people.
And the community. Even as the restaurant struggles, it donates meals to frontline workers.
It really lifts morale.
Another morale booster, a federal loan after weeks of waiting.
What does it mean for the business?
It means that we can hopefully bring back our team members, and the Chili Bowl will come back hopefully stronger than ever.
Serving up hope, a key ingredient for survival. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
Their specialty is the half smoke.
Okay, and there you go on that video. UK scientists in search for a cure for COVID-19. Let's take a listen to that video from Sky News.
These are some of the real drugs we're testing.
In a lab on the outskirts of Oxford, the drug hunters are taking on COVID-19. With the help of artificial intelligence, they're scanning a back catalogue of 12,000 chemical compounds for possible activity against the virus. The results are instant, a deep blue, a signal of a possible match. The drugs have already been investigated for other diseases and passed initial safety studies, repurposed for the coronavirus. Scientists will be able to skip forward to trials in patients in a matter of months.
There is a lot to learn, and the fastest we can target different protein and try which one is the right one, which one we need to target to develop a treatment against COVID-19, the better.
Hospital trials of existing antiviral treatments in coronavirus patients have so far proved disappointing. but the Accenture scientists are confident that a drug designed for a completely unrelated disease might, by chance, have the right structure to also stop the coronavirus in its tracks. The scientists here are hoping to find a drug that hits the coronavirus where it's most vulnerable. That might be the protein it needs to get inside cells, or it could be the proteins it needs to make copies of itself. If they find a good match, it could prevent the catastrophic damage being done inside patients' lungs. The drug hunt is being accelerated by Britain's most powerful microscope, a loop more than 3 times the size of Wembley Stadium that generates a beam of light 10 billion times brighter than the sun. It allows scientists to see individual atoms, with the drug highlighted in colour locking on to the virus. It should be possible to design the perfect match and stop the virus in its tracks. They call it the COVID moonshot.
Here we have a view of one of the components of the virus, and that is the active site where it does the actual work. And what we are trying to do in all drug discovery projects is to find a compound that we can stick in there and essentially block it from doing its reactions. We call it gunking up the works.
It used to take a decade to develop a new medicine, but the urgency of the pandemic and the lack of a vaccine is driving innovation and could result in effective treatment faster than ever before. Thomas Moore, Sky News.
Okay, and there you go. Dow drops more than 200 points to end April after more dismissal economic data. Stocks fell sharply on Thursday, the last day of April, as investors designated another round of dismissal economic data along with the latest batch of major tech earnings. U.S. weekly job loss claims hit 3.84 million, topping 30 million over the last 6 weeks. First-time filing for unemployment insurance hit 3.84 million last week as the wave of economic pain continues, though the worst appears to be in part, according to the Labor Department figures Thursday. Speaker Pelosi satisfied with Biden's sexual assault allegation denial. Let's take a listen to that video from MSNBC.
Now to developments in a story involving a sexual assault allegation against Joe Biden, which he denies. A new person coming forward to vouch for the woman who made this accusation. The allegation by a former Senate aide to Biden, Tara Reid, who alleges that Biden sexually assaulted her in a Senate building in 1993. The New York Times reported Reid, quote, briefly worked as a staff assistant in Biden's Senate office and said in 1993 Biden pinned her to a wall and sexually assaulted her. A spokesman for Biden says the allegation was false. The Times reported, quote, no other allegation about sexual assault surfaced in the course of reporting, nor did any former Biden staff members corroborate details of Reid's allegation. The Times found no pattern of sexual misconduct by Biden. The Biden campaign adamantly denies the entire account, stating, quote, it is untrue. This absolutely did not happen, while Biden himself has not publicly addressed the allegation. Now, what is the conclusion of what the New York Times found? Here's how Times reporter Lisa Lehrer described her own reporting.
Tara mentions to me is that at the time she had called a friend and told her the whole story. So I tracked down the friend and, in large part, she corroborates the story that Tara had told me. She tells me she told a friend in 2008 after Joe Biden had been picked as Barack Obama's vice president. She confirms that account and some of the things that Tara tells me.
Where does that leave you?
So it leaves us with something, but certainly not enough to corroborate this entire story.
That's the New York Times. Now, a new person is going on the record by name vouching for Reid, telling Business Insider that Reid told her the account of being assaulted around 1995 or 96, roughly 2 to 3 years after the alleged account. Quote, This happened, and I know it did because I remember her talking about it, is what this person said. Now, Business Insider reports the witness is Reed's former neighbor and adds that she is a Democrat and also intends to vote for Biden this year. In Congress, top Democrats are standing with Biden. Senator Coons defending him just in the previous hour on MSNBC today, as did his former primary rival, Senator Gillibrand, and recent booster, Congressman Clyburn. Now, the way to learn about this kind of story is to address it. Ask the questions and listen to the evidence. We have been asking officials about the issue, and here are some of the responses from another former Biden primary rival, Senator Klobuchar, and the top-ranking Democrat in government, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, from my recent interviews with them.
I think this case has been investigated. I know the vice president as a major leader on domestic abuse. I worked with him on that. And I think that, again, the viewers should read the article. It was very thorough.
There was an accusation of misconduct against Joe Biden. He has publicly denied it. He is the Democratic nominee. Are you satisfied with his answer?
I am satisfied with his answer, yes.
That is the state of this story right now, and we will continue to report out the evidence as we get it. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for the RK Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Have a great rest of your morning. I'll see you back here this afternoon for another edition of the RK Newscast. Goodbye, everyone.